Welcome to Lemoore City Council Chambers located at 429 C Street. This is the August 4th meeting. Please silence all electronic devices as a courtesy to those in attendance. Thank you. If you could please stand for the invocation given by Kimberly Nelson and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Stuart Lyons.
Father God, we come before you, Lord, and we thank you for this opportunity, Lord God, to come together as a community. We ask, Father God, for your blessing over this time, your blessing over the community, and your blessing over our leaders. We invite you into this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Ready? Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good evening. Councilmember Brewster.
Here.
Councilmember Lyons.
Present.
Councilmember Cruz.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Gornick.
Present.
And Mayor Matthews.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go on to agenda approval additions and or deletions.
Staff has no changes.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to ceremonial presentation, item 1-1, retirement recognition, Jesse Ruben Reyna. Who's doing that, Diego?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council members, and everyone in attendance. Tonight, it is my honor to recognize Jesse Ruben Reyna as he celebrates his retirement from the city of Lemoore. Ruben began his career in the city in May of 2012 as part of a part-time labor program. Through his dedication and strong work ethic, he was promoted to full-time maintenance work number 1 in August 2014, and later maintenance worker 2 in February 2019. During his 14 years of service, Ruben played an important role in countless projects that have made a lasting impact in our community. His contributions include the Cinnamon Municipal Complex expansion and remodel, CrossFit room in the Recreation Center, the Heritage Park Disc Golf Course, foot golf at the Lemoore Golf Course, and many other projects throughout the city. But what truly sets Ruben apart is not just the work he accomplished, but the attitude he brings every single day. Good attitude, not bad attitude. He has always been willing to take on any task, no matter how big or small, consistently comes to work with a positive attitude, smile, and a willingness to help wherever is needed. Ruben is a true team player who gets along with everyone, is always eager to learn new skills, and takes initiative without hesitation. Over the years, Ruben has made an integral part of maintaining our city's buildings, parks, landscaping, streets. His dedication has helped keep Lemoore a place our residents can be proud of. Ruben, on behalf of the city of Lemoore, thank you for all the years of hard work, commitment, and service to our community. Your contributions have left and will leave a lasting legacy, and you'll certainly be missed by coworkers and everyone who has had the pleasure of working alongside you. We wish you all the best in your retirement. May this next chapter be filled with good health, happiness, relaxation, hopefully, and many new adventures. Congratulations, Ruben. Thank you for the outstanding service for the city of Lemoore.
Are you going to give a speech, Ruben?
Speech. I just want to thank everybody for here and giving me an opportunity to work here in the city, and I really enjoyed it and had a great time working here. And everybody's been so good to me, and I want to say thank you for everything.
We'd like to present you with a plaque if you don't mind and a photo up.
Okay.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so come up and take a picture.
So I wanted to say Ruben's last day of work was Thursday of last week, and it's only been 2 work days, but we miss him already. I've never seen somebody who's happier to be at work than Ruben. He is happy all the time when he is working, and we are definitely going to miss him around the city.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Ruben. Well deserved. Now we'll go ahead and go on to a study session, item 2-1, 2026 Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Community Strategies. Kaylee.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Matthews and members of the council. I'm Kaylee Clay, Regional Planner for Kings County Association of Governments, and we are here today because every 4 years we are required to update and adopt the Regional Transportation Plan and Sustainable Community Strategy. And today we have our consultant, Jim Damkowicz from DKS Associates, who's currently assisting us with the 2026 update to the RTPSES, and he will be giving a quick presentation on the Sustainable Community Strategy portion of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Again, Jim Damkowicz with DKS Associates out of Sacramento. We've been assisting KCAG on this RTP and Sustainable Community Strategy update. And I'll be very quick. So next slide. Very quick agenda, so we can go to the next slide. Next slide. I want to be fast. So KCAG is your metropolitan planning organization for the county. Their role is to facilitate the flow of federal and state transportation funding to all its member agencies, including the city of Lemoore. And one of their biggest, if not the biggest, functions is the update and upkeep of the regional transportation plan. That requirement has been around since the 60s and 70s. In 2014, the Sustainable Community Strategy portion of that became a requirement, and that was due to the passage of SB 375. And so now that's also a part of the requirement. So KCAG is one of 18 MPOs statewide and one of 381 across the country. Next slide. So Valley Vision is really the Kings Valley Regional Vision is to update the regional transportation plan. It has a number of requirements, which I'll go through very quickly. We can go to the next slide and the next slide. So I'll just go what we've completed, and that addresses the requirements. So the RTP, the Regional Transportation Plan, must be multimodal. And so it addresses all the modes of transportation, and it must be performance-based, which means that we look at the various metrics. We'll be analyzing and quantifying over 40 metrics that basically give us an indication of the health of your modal transportation system here in Kings County. Agency meetings, so we met with the city of Lemoore, as well as all the local member agencies of KCAG, to hear from you folks. What are your capital improvement project needs? What are your priorities? What are your projected revenue streams for transportation funding? And what is your land use? So all that came from the bottom up, directly from you folks. With that information from all the member agencies, we developed the capital improvement list, which is your multimodal projects that can be reasonably funded for the life of the plan, which in this case, it has to be at least 20 years. Our plan goes 25 years out in the future. And what can be reasonably funded based on the expected revenues that will come into the county. And that's being called a financially constrained program, which is a requirement. We held public workshops in October of 2025 on the regional transportation plan. We also just recently held our SCS, Sustainable Community Strategy public workshops in June. In between October of 25 and June 26, we did a lot of pop-ups because it's very difficult to get people to come to our workshops, as you know. So it actually was much more effective to go where the people are. And we were very happy that we got a lot of our community surveys filled out. We got a lot of great public input on what folks would like to see as part of their transportation system here in Kings County. And as you know, we released our public draft on July 13th, and it's currently in public review. So real quick, I'm going to go over the scenarios that make up the sustainable community strategies. We're required to have at least 4 scenarios. So scenario A is basically everything that we heard from the member agencies. It is the current trend. It's what everyone is currently doing right now. So, and this has historically been the preferred scenario to adopt as part of the RTPSCS. And so your land use, your expenditures for the types of projects that you would like to see, as well as the revenue projections that you reasonably anticipate to be coming in. All that is scenario A. So next slide, next slide, next slide. Scenario B. So scenario B is the same as A, except on the land use side. The land use side, we're projecting, and this is hypothetical, but it's based on empirical permit data from all the cities and the county, how much ADU and lot split activity we can anticipate to occur if that market were to really take off. And it must be plausible, and there's a lot of legislation that really supports ADUs and lot splits. That's SB 9 and AB 602, which I won't go into. But based on this scenario, we're projecting 450 additional accessory dwelling units by 2035 and almost 1,400 by 2049. And if you think about this, this is like the ultimate infill. You're actually meeting some of your housing needs by placing them where residential units already exist. So it's really ultra infill, if you will. And so that's scenario B. Next slide. Next slide. Scenario C, again, is the same revenue, expenditure, and all that. But again, the land use varies. And by the way, we met with all the member agencies, so they understand these scenarios, particularly with land use, because KCAG has no land use authority. It's all the member agencies, but they like where we're going with this. Scenario C is as part of SB 743, which changed level of service as the operable metric for CEQA traffic impacts. It made it VMT, vehicle miles traveled. From that, we know where every portion of the county is a VMT efficient area. So VMT per capita is less than the countywide average. In those areas, that's where we allocated future growth. Most of the future growth already is occurring in these very VMT efficient areas, but what weren't, we reallocated to VMT efficient areas. And this was a very appealing scenario. It's very hypothetical. We understand that, and so did all the member agencies, but everybody thought it was worth looking at and analyzing, because we hear a lot from the state that through land use alone, you can solve your GHG emission reduction needs and targets and all that. And so it was kind of interesting to see the outcome of that, and I'll get into it. But there was a lot of mapping of those VMT efficient areas. So last but not least, scenario D is everything the same as A, except more investment. And I will clarify, every scenario invests in active transportation projects. Every scenario invests in broadband expansion and electromobility. Scenario D just invests more in those 3 things. So more money invested in active transportation, more money invested in broadband expansion and electromobility, because those things do have the effect potentially of reducing greenhouse gas emission reductions. So next slide, next slide, next slide. So we had to test all these. And so this bar just shows total VMT as it relates to land use. And so you see scenario C, it is lower than scenario A, B, and D, but not by much, only about 13,000 VMT per day. That's a drop in the bucket. So that's a very nice piece of information to go and tell the California Air Resources Board that you know, because we're only dealing with the net new portion of new development. You can't really touch existing development in this. And so it's got limited effectiveness. And that's a big item to talk about. But what's really much more effective are the projects and programs that you can implement through the RTP. And that's your transit improvements, your van pool formation. You know, there is telecommuting, there's transportation demand management through Rule 9410, which has been in existence for years. But so we quantified all these. It's quite an exercise. It's very wonky, but it's important that you quantify them. And that's that performance-based assessment that is required. And so next slide, you see how those VMT reductions, next slide, result in CO2. That's your primary greenhouse gas. So you see a lot of effects of which measures are effective, which ones are moderately similarly effective. But you need them all because at the end of the day, next slide, we have to meet our state and federal requirements. So that box on your left, that is the greenhouse gas emission reduction target. The first row is the target that the state has established for Kings County. We must achieve by 2035 a 13% reduction in GHG emissions per capita. And as you can see, the good news is scenario A, B, C, and D all exceed that. A, B, and C roughly perform about the same. And that's very, you know, that scenario, that VMT efficiency one is really big because that's such an aggressive land use scenario. Doesn't really give you that much benefit. Scenario D, which the more investments in broadband and so forth, does by far the best. But we will point out that by being so far over the target presents some optic issues because ARB will look at that and say, oh, you're making your GHG target easily 6% over what we're asking you. And so they reset those targets every X number of years. And the fear is that they'll set it to 18 or, you know, they'll increase it because we're making it too easy. So that scenario D, even though it sounds really good, is a bit scary in that respect. So I'm not sure if there's much support for it. Federal air quality conformity, that's your health-based pollutants. And the good news is all the scenarios meet that requirement as well. This is really important because we can't really put forth a scenario that doesn't meet these requirements because it would be basically dead on arrival and it wouldn't be a viable choice for the KCAG board or this council to select a scenario that they would prefer. So next slide. So we've done all that hard work and the next steps, we've already circulated the transportation air quality conformity and FTIP. So that's in circulation right now. We're going to be presenting to the stakeholder advisory group who's been tracking this process the whole time. We present to them on August 13th. We're going to be asking for them to make a choice, which SCS scenario they prefer. And we'll be making a selection and bringing that selection to the KCAG board in September. And that's when our job is over. And then it goes to Federal Highways because they are the approving agency for the RTP. And then California Air Resources Board will approve the SCS portion. That'll occur in December. And that concludes my presentation. Sure.
Thank you. Did you have something to add, Kayla?
No, I just,
Okay.
you're just in your question.
Any questions? So are you looking for a, like our input on which scenario?
Yeah, just input. You don't necessarily have to choose one. Just we want to get some feedback and let you know what the scenarios are and kind of what their goals aim to be.
Gotcha. Did you have a
Yeah.
question?
So what happens if we don't meet the goals? What are they gonna do to us?
Well, the good news, all four of the choices before you all meet the goals, but hypothetically, if we couldn't come up with a scenario, and believe me, this crosses our mind. Yeah. You don't really know the answer until you're well into the analysis. But if we were not to be able to meet the GHG emission reduction targets, ARB could not approve the SCS, and then they would require what is called a APS or an alternative strategy And then you're allowed to go more pie in the sky, but you have to show and demonstrate that you can achieve the target with those pie in the sky measures. Now, I will say only one MPO, and that was Merced County Association of Governments. That did happen to them back in 2014. They developed their APS and were sued right out of the gate by the environmental communities that were well aware of their situation. That may put a lot of onerous requirements on them. They've since gotten out of that, but it wasn't a fun 4 years for them.
So are the federal standards still in existence? They're currently under review, aren't they?
I'm sorry.
The federal standards are currently under review.
The federal for the air quality conformity, yes, that is under review, right?
Yeah, so the conformity and SCS are kind of, they're related, but they're two separate issues or topics.
Okay. One more question with respect to, you had mentioned broadband as a solution. It's a pretty expensive solution.
It's also in scenario D, which we probably want to stay away from.
Yeah.
I'll point out all the scenarios do invest some in broadband. A lot of it, so the Middle Mile Initiative by Caltrans, so they're laying fiber optic cable along the state highway system. And then they're leaving it up to the member agencies to connect to that system for the last mile. So the state is doing their part to get high-speed broadband, throughout the state, but it's going to be a while, and it is very expensive.
It's expensive to the homeowner too.
Yeah, and just to give a little historical knowledge, typically when these scenarios are presented to the stakeholder advisory group, scenario A has been typically the one that has been chosen because it's kind of business as usual. So not really, we take your guys' general plans and land use and not kind of giving the cities and the county expectations that are unreasonable to meet. So that we can kind of just brag about the bike and ped projects and the different projects you guys are already doing instead of setting us a high standard for what you need to invest your funds in.
Thank you.
So set the standard low, but aim high.
Correct.
Any other questions or comments? Any questions or comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council. Do anyone have a preferred scenario that they would like to talk about or suggest or? Crickets.
I guess 80.
We will take it to the stakeholder advisory group. They will kind of choose a preferred scenario, and that stakeholder advisory group is comprised of members from each local jurisdiction, usually like public works staff, and some other members of the community. And then we will take it to our board with the recommendation from the stakeholder advisory group. And then that's when it is chosen as the preferred scenario.
Gotcha.
Well, personally, ideally, option D would be. Ideally, it would be the option D or scenario D. However, scenario A is more realistic.
Yeah, and like was mentioned, you really don't want to give CARB any reason to
Yes.
up the ante. Their standards are pretty stringent as it is, so.
Yeah, and really the scenarios are kind of, like I said, a roadmap of what transportation investments the cities will make. And then every 4 years when we update the plan, we kind of do plan over plan improvements showing we chose this scenario and all the cities and local jurisdictions implemented this project that fits under this scenario. So.
Do we get any credit for the high-speed rail?
I'm not sure, dude.
Because
It's better.
well, it's 2030. Well, no, we would and we could. It's just that the horizon year is 2035 for the SES,
Oh, okay.
2049 for the EIR. We don't think it'll be viable by then.
We'll think the high speed rail will be done by then.
No, I don't think anybody thinks it'll be done by then. Okay, I think that's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Now we'll go to item 2-2, general cost allocation analysis and update. Ms. Valdez.
Yes, so back in December, we did an RFQ to have our cost allocation reviewed by an outside party to make sure that it was fair and equitable across the board. We used a very complicated spreadsheet system to allocate our costs across the general fund departments and enterprise departments. So along with that, we had them review it and provide their updates. So with me, I have Dan Bergman here to provide that report to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. It's always good to be here. So my job was to do a general cost allocation study. But what I quickly realized when I showed up is that you have a very sophisticated model already in place. So it was more a matter of reviewing the model and looking for ways to improve it. The slides. Marissa, do you have, oh, you're going to, okay. There we go. So going to the first slide, general government cost allocation is the allocation of costs for the centralized departments in the city. So for Lemoore, it's a lot of you that are here, city council, city manager, city clerk, finance department, public works, facilities management, information technology, human resources, and utility billing. That's all of them. So this exercise is all about allocating the costs for all of these departments out to 21 other departments, including your own, which is kind of interesting because you're allocating cost amongst general fund departments. So moving to the next slide. The Excel-based model that's used looks at, for city council, for example, the number of agenda items that you deal with on an annual basis that are associated with each department. So from a government cost allocation standpoint, you're not serving the public, you're serving agenda items. And your costs for city council are allocated out to all the other departments based on the count of items associated with that department. Another example is for human resources, information technology, or facility management. It's primarily based on headcount because their work is oriented toward people. For public works administration, it's a little bit different. Before we modified the model, it was based on expenses primarily in the enterprise funds. And there's a lot of expenses in the enterprise funds, so it tended to weight costs that way. So as a result of that, we did a simplified fee study for public works that caused cost to shift more representatively. And one example of what happened is the fee study caused a shift of about $250,000 away from water. And part of the reason for that is water, of course, right now for the city is outsourced, the operation of the water enterprise. So that's an adjustment that we made. Now for the bar chart. This is a good visual, and it's one we can actually understand compared to the next one. But the green in the bottom represents enterprise fund contributions to general fund departments. And so what you see for utility billing, which is the third one from the right, is all of the utility billing costs are incurred by the enterprise funds because it's all water, sewer, and refuse billing. Most of the cost for public works comes from the enterprise funds because public works is responsible for the enterprise funds. And then you see some allocation to finance and city manager. But this is important because if you didn't have the enterprise funds, you wouldn't have the benefit of that revenue, and all of those costs would have to be incurred by general fund money. So moving on. This is my attempt at a flow chart for how money can go into and out of departments. So if you have a general fund department like human resources provides moving upward services to IT because there's employees in IT. So an allocation comes back to human resources from IT for that help. But at the same time, IT is providing services to human resources because they have computers. And so money moves the other way. But that's what the model does for the enterprise funds and for all the internal departments. You don't approve this because it's a part of the budgeting process, which you do approve. But when you're approving the budget each year, you're seeing a line item that shows the intergovernmental transfer. So the next slide's a little bit more complex. And this is showing the balance of all the transfers. It was my attempt to illustrate it. The sum total of all those bars is 0 because all we're doing is moving money around to try to reflect where costs are incurred and services are provided. I'm using wastewater in the bar chart as an example. Wastewater is transferring out about $950,000. And so where's it going? Part of it to city council, to the city manager, to the city clerk, to finance, to public works, and so on and so forth. So this Excel model, which is very complex with many tabs, is moving all these funds around based on the various inputs to try to show an equitable representation of cost. So suggested changes and changes already implemented from the work. One of the things working with Jocelyn primarily, your finance director, funding sources were added for RTPA, the RTPA exchange, SB1, road rehab, local transportation, and street impact fund. So what that did is it gave another place where staff was allocating their time to actually allocate costs to. So costs were assigned to those areas that hadn't been previously assigned. Also, I mentioned the time study that we did for Public Works. One of the aspects of the model that works just fine, but could make it easier for Jocelyn, is fleet services is subtracted out and then added back in the model. With a little bit of effort, you could integrate that just so there weren't so many lines. The other thing that I'm recommending is that because the model is so complex, it should really be reviewed each year. And it's one of those things that you can easily skip, just like reviewing master fees, which I'm going to talk about later. But it's important to do it. And probably the biggest benefit to what I've done here is just provided the opportunity for staff to look very closely at this because I was asking so many questions. So the result of the work was improvements to the model. It is a good model. And it was really a pleasure doing the work. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns from council? Dr. Gornick?
Excellent report. Because any surprises that you saw that jumped out to you?
The biggest surprise was trying to figure it out. But it was a good exercise to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And especially to appreciate what it's accomplishing. The biggest challenge, like with any model, is it's not perfect. Just the example I used was public enterprise cost assigned to public works based on revenue.
Right.
Well, that works really good with HR and IT because it's people focused, but with public works, it's a little bit different. So no model is perfect. There's always the opportunity to make modifications to it. And that's why it needs to be looked at periodically.
You know, the example you used in the slide with waterworks.
Wastewater.
Wastewater, excuse me. It was $950,000 if I remember it was. Now, how is that money allocated out? Is it on a routine basis or is it, here's where I'm going with it. If some of these allocations are on a routine basis, somebody has to do that. Somebody has to take some money out, has to go to the account.
Yes.
Assign that amount. If it's a standard amount every month, or if it's a, you know, they do something to do that.
Right. I think you do it annually. Jocelyn, is that right? Yeah.
You do it
It's done annually.
Like a true up at the end of the year kind of a thing? Okay.
The cost allocation is one of the last things that is done at the end of each fiscal year when we're performing the audit. After everything is finalized, because there are portions of it that are based on expenditures. So until we've completely done the audit and posted every journal that needs to be and have a final expenditure balance per department, we can't post that cost allocation. So it's literally the last thing that we do.
Okay. That's good. Thank you. Very good.
Any other questions or comments from council? Any questions or comments from the public on this item? Well, thank you very much. Now we'll go ahead and move on to public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached policy. This time is reserved for members of the audience to address the city council on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. It is recommended that speakers limit their comments to 3 minutes each, and it is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The council is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda. Prior to addressing the council, any handouts for council will be provided to the city clerk for distribution to the council and appropriate staff. The public will have an opportunity to comment on items on the agenda once the item has been called and the mayor opens the item to the public. Is there any public comment at this time? Ms. Sanchez?
Hello, my name is Teresa Sanchez. I live on Cinnamon Drive in Lemoore. Lately, we've had a bunch of changes with the bike lane and we're literally very upset. The 20 feet we get, but us parking on that busy street, we do not appreciate being the stop for these fast cars. We live it. These cars fly down our street. We need more policing. We need help with slowing this traffic down, but we do not need to be put out to have our children trying to get out of the car on this street. They drag race down our street. And I sat and I spoke with you, but I walked the streets and talked to all kinds of neighbors, like tons of them. And I got their, I got some petitions here too that I brought. And I could have got way more if I had more time, but I also asked to be put on the agenda and was told I couldn't be. So I'm very upset because I love Lemoore. I've been here over 20 years and I love this town. This town is everything to us, to my family, my sons, my everything lives here. So I just want our safety, and I think we should have been asked about putting us out on a busy street like that, moving a bike lane. There's more cars commuting to businesses and stuff than there are bikes down our street. I haven't seen anyone do any testing down there except for speed testing. The stop sign, let's put some more stop signs in, some speed bumps, more policing, but please, I beg you, please do not make us park on the outside like that. It's very dangerous for us, and I'm fearful for the elderly people that's gonna have to get in and out of their cars. And when our kids are getting in and out of the back, we got small children, older. I have a disabled child. It's terrifying to know that we're gonna have to get out and worry about hitting a bike on this side now and a car on this side now. I parked there just to see what people do. They drive over the double line that's now been put there that we can't turn around and go down Hanford or Mona, different things. So I'm very upset that why we're being used to stop this traffic. That's not fair to any of us. And I've talked to all the neighbors and I wished somebody would have came out and talked to us. I found out by watching the signs be painted on the side of the thing. And so I asked the painters. That's how I found out these changes are coming. Nobody's told us about the changes. And so I'm just very disappointed that this is happening. Like, I think we should have got more involved with it and been able to speak our truth. We live it. I'm sure, I don't know if any of you live on our street, but it comes sit for an hour or two on our street, and then where the bikes have to move back, because it's not all over town, it switches back. So why does our streets have to be changed, but not on other streets? Because if you continue down Cinnamon, there's spots. Landing's Edge didn't lose their parking. They have their parking. What makes them different from us? We have to come and go too and run our lives. We bought our house with parking. So now we're being narrowed down to hardly any parking. I have people come to my house every Sunday after church. Now, where do they park? They have to Uber in or taxi in. It makes no sense because we did lose parking. I know you don't think we lost parking, but come sit out there and look at it. We lost a ton of parking. And a lot of us have multiple people living in our house. We have college kids, we have high school kids. Where are they going to park now? When they get their cars, they have to go park around the corner or down the street. We own our house. We want to park at our house. And that is what I have to say, but thank you. And I say it with all due respect. I really love Lemoore. It's just, I think a few things could be done a little different.
Thank you. You can, yeah, give them to the clerk.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Stacy Stevens and I am a resident on Cinnamon Street. I am speaking to express my concerns about the proposed bike lanes and the impact they will have on parking for residents in the neighborhood. I want to be clear that I support bicycle safety. In fact, I ride my own bike and understand the importance of providing a safe place for cyclists. However, I believe there needs to be a balanced approach that considers the needs for everyone who uses the streets. This past weekend, I made a point of observing traffic on our street. I counted more than 20 cars parked along the roadway, and that was just on one side alone. That made me question whether removing valuable parking spaces is the best solution for the relatively small number of cyclists who currently use this route. Over the weekend, I tried to observe the cyclists, with me being one as well. Myself was probably the only one that I could pick during peak times. Regardless, I do know that we are in a heat wave. That made me question whether removing valuable parking spaces is the best solution for a relatively small number of cyclists who currently use this route. For many residents, on-street parking is not a convenience, it is a necessity. Eliminating parking will create hardships for homeowners, renters, visitors, and families who already struggle to find available spaces. Rather than reducing parking, I would encourage the city to focus on addressing the excessive speeding that occurs on our street. Speeding is a safety concern that affects everyone, the drivers, bicyclists, pedestrians, and residents alike. Measures such as increased traffic enforcement, speed humps, traffic calming, stop signs, and other strategies could reduce and improve the safety without taking away essential parking. I respectfully ask the council to reconsider this project and explore solutions that improve safety for cyclists while also preserving the parking that residents depend on every day. I believe we can create a safer street without placing an unnecessary burden on the people who live here. Thank you for your time and your consideration. I hope you will consider the concerns, as I do know that this is a project that is trying to be done before school starts, which is within the next few weeks. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone had their hand raised over here.
My name is Sharon Black, and I'd like to thank you all for donating your time as volunteers to do this job. One of the things that I would like to have happen in Lemoore is I would like to see a second pharmacy. We actually get our drugs at Costco, but I've had to go pick up drugs at the only pharmacy in Lemoore. And the last time I did, there were 25 people in line. One person was sitting on the ground because he didn't have his wheelchair. The second thing I would like to say is about youth wearing helmets for the little everything, not just youth, adults. Is there any rule about wearing helmets for electric scooters? There is. I'd be glad to help enforce it. I don't want to eat a bug on my windshield that turns out to be a 10-year-old kid. So that's all I have.
That's probably what we need. We probably need some grandmas out there telling some kids to put some helmets on. Anyone else have public comment?
I didn't want to go last or anything. My name is Ian Gay. I'm one of the scoutmasters for our scouting troop here in Lemoore.
What was your name, sir?
Ian Gay.
All right.
Several of our scouts here tonight working on their citizenship in the community merit badge. One of 21 merit badges and over 200 requirements that they have to complete to earn their Eagle Scout. Tonight's task is to attend a city council meeting and pick a local topic to research and discuss with one of our council members, a fact that I don't know our council members are aware of yet. Please excuse us if we don't stay to the end tonight. We do have some other requirements to knock out tonight, but we very much appreciate you guys hosting us here and allowing us to attend. I would like to thank the council in particular for your support over the last couple of years. Your support for us has benefited our program in ways that would take longer than this meeting to describe. And we and I very much appreciate you being there for us. And we look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Walker, I'm sorry, Alex C. Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Good evening. I'm here to speak on a couple different hats, but before we get started, just a big round of applause for the scouts for being here tonight. It takes a lot of courage to come to a city council meeting, and I think it's incredible what you guys are doing. I see you at several community events that I'm also at, so it's just good to see you guys here tonight. Wearing my Rotary hat, and speaking of community events that the Scouts were at, we had the end of summer bash this past weekend. It was the 4th annual, and our club has been a proud sponsor of that event since its inception, being the grill master. It is an annual tradition for us to grill hot dogs. It's also an annual tradition for me to get a sunburn. So it's really always a good time, and very happy to be there. And if I may say, it's been the best one yet. I do want to go on record, and I want it recorded in the minutes. We have to get a dunk tank. I will happily sign up to get dunked myself, but we got to get the mayor in a dunk tank.
I've been in a dunk tank.
I know, but we got to
Several
do it
years.
again. We gotta do it again. It's a great part of the tradition, and traditions matter, and nothing says traditions matter like the city of Lemoore, all our incredible community traditions. I also wanted to take a moment to speak for the fire department. It was a great time being out there hosing off the people. Trust me, after 600 hot dogs being in front of that grill, I ran into that water myself. It was a nice time to cool down and be with friends and family. I did want to take a moment to speak to something that resonates with me deeply personally, not only as an LHS grad, but a active first responder. We have the 7th annual Otis Tolbert 9/11 Memorial Golf Tournament. And the reason it stands out to me so much, in addition to him being a true American hero, a victim of 9/11, he is a LHS grad. And I think it's incredible for us as a community to come together for one of our own. This golf tournament provides scholarships for LHS youth, so it's really important that we come out, and that will be on Saturday, September 12th. I'm gonna have to cut this short. I do apologize. Just wanted to share that the Chamber of Commerce does have Salute to Ag nominations. It'll be extended to August 15th. And the actual event day will be October 12th. And then also the Mooney is here to say some great stuff about our upcoming events. So Saturday, September 26th will be the 10th annual cemetery walk. I'll have the honor of portraying former retired chief Norm Garcia. We'll have the Kings players as well as other community groups out there. And then we have lots of local Lemoore history as well as countless county history. And then Saturday, October 17th, will be the 50th anniversary of the Mooney. More details to come. It'll be a great time to gather, not only as a community, but again, respecting those traditions. Duty calls, so I have to excuse myself, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mike.
Hi, Mike Betcher. I think Alex stole my thunder.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have many of our board members with us here tonight, Bill and Betty and Dean and Savannah, our Nepo baby, the Mooney descendant. And 50 years ago, a group of Lemoore citizens got together while the country was celebrating our bicentennial and decided to open the doors to the Mooney Museum here in Lemoore. And we've been in continuous operation since October 17th, 1976. So this is our 50th year coming up. We've developed some traditions, and one of those is our annual cemetery walk. And this year that's September 26th out at the Lemoore Cemetery, and we'll be highlighting some important Lemoore people. One of them is a fellow named Maurice Howell, and he was part of the first city council here for Lemoore about 1902, I think it was. And Alex mentioned that he'll be Norm Garcia from the Lemoore Fire Department. I'll be Herb Atkinson. He's the one that started the Lemoore Animal Clinic. Savannah is going to play Sarah Mooney, her 3 times great-grandmother. And yeah, it will be a great event, and we're hoping that this is the year that we sell the event out. No extra seats. And then October 17th is our big celebration there at the Mooney. We'll be celebrating 50 years in continuous service to the public as a free museum. And then the end of November, the Sunday right after Thanksgiving, the 29th, is our annual Christmas open house where Santa and Mrs. Claus will be taking the Christmas wishes from all the good little girls and boys from Lemoore, and there'll be lots of activities and such. And just to close, I speak for all of us when I say that the Ceremony Museum takes it very seriously, our mission, which is to protect and share the local history of this area as well as the lifestyles of the pioneers who settled here. And we feel that we might be able to do that job a little bit better if somewhere down the road we were able to expand and have a little bit more space for specific curated displays and more perhaps ADA accessibility. And along those lines, we've in the past floated the idea of eventually trying to acquire the Meyer Ranch House, which sits adjacent to the property that the museum is on at 542 D Street. So we're hoping to one day partner with the city and figure out a way to make that whole complex a heritage complex to benefit Lemoore residents and offer expanded history of our area and more programs and more field trips and just a better experience. So that's our goal, and hopefully we can work with the city and achieve that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I hope you ordered good weather for September cemetery walk.
I put in my request. Yes, yes. Traditionally, it has been very nice. We even had a little bit of a sprinkle last year, and that was very cooling. It's right at the end of summer, and so generally the weather breaks, knock on wood, the weekend before, and so the last really hot days are right before this event. So hopefully we continue with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. Barnhart?
Evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. My name is Curtis Barnhart. I'm a resident of District C. For over 20 years, I have had the privilege of serving our nation, first in the United States Navy and continuing today in federal service right here in Lemoore. Throughout my career in technical instruction, housing administration, and maintenance supervision, my job is always centered on operational readiness, managing resources responsibly, and solving problems efficiently. Tonight, I'm stepping up to this podium to announce my candidacy for City Council District C in the upcoming election. I am running because local governance requires leadership grounded in honor, courage, and true commitment to stability. Having managed large-scale facilities, operations, and portfolios supporting thousands of residents and personnel, I understand the real-world necessity of fiscal accountability, maintaining local infrastructure, and supporting our public safety services. My background isn't politics. It's in assessment management, teamwork, and getting things done right the first time. In the military, accountability isn't optional, it's the standard. I intend to bring that exact same practical discipline, transparency, and service first mentality to City Hall. Lemoore is a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family. I look forward to engaging with you, with our community throughout this campaign, listening to our neighbors in District C, and working collaboratively with the council to ensure the city stays strong, safe, and financially sound. Thank you for your time and your service to our city.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none? Thank you all for coming. We'll go ahead and move on to department and city manager reports.
Thank you. I do have a few. I do want to let Mrs. Black know that we are getting a second pharmacy. So we should have more information on that shortly. They're just waiting on state approval.
Yeah. I was just going to say that.
You need to come to more meetings.
So there are a few announcements that I wanted to make. One, we do have some park improvements that are going to be happening at Heritage Park, which requires that the park be closed to the public for safety while we're making these improvements. So for the safety of our community, Heritage Park will be completely closed to the public beginning Tuesday, August 11th through approximately Thursday, August 20th. There will be several palm trees that are being removed. And so during that work week, there may be falling debris, heavy equipment in the area, and wildlife that's displaced from the trees. So for everyone's safety, the park will be completely closed. Also, there was a press release that went out today that we can finally announce that inside the old Kmart, we're going to have Ross, Five Below, and Anytime Fitness. I know there were rumors in the community about that before, but the Ross lease was just recently signed. So now it can be publicly discussed that that's what's happening. And then I wanted to introduce Susan Long, who is our new Community Development Director. She started yesterday. So if everybody can welcome Susan.
Speech.
Do you want to say anything, Susan, before I continue?
Oh, we can't hear you. You have to talk into the mic at the.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited about this opportunity and all of the amazing work that's already been happening here in Lemoore, and to be a part of that and help continue. Thank you.
As excited as you are, I think Christy's even more excited.
Yeah.
And then also, I believe the chief has an update, and then Jocelyn does as well. So I don't know which one wants to come first. And Christina.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Two quick updates. We've set the date for our Lemoore's Night Out. It's going to be October 27th up at Heritage Park again. The only other thing I have is with the schools going back into session, our PAL wrestling program will be starting back up. So if anybody is interested, please come down and talk to us at the police department. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jocelyn?
So just a quick announcement, part of the energy systems group project that we brought before you for the 24 million. Part of that is the revamping of the finance parking lot. We will be filling in the loading dock area over there, expanding the parking lot, installing solar shade paneling over there. So that is slated to begin August 31st, and it's going to take 5 weeks of completion. So during that time, the entire area, because of the large equipment that will be set there, as well as all of the materials, it will be completely closed off to the public. So finance for utility billing services will be operating out of the recreation office, and we'll have signs up in the area directing people to come to there. But for anybody here, if you're trying to pay your bill from August 31st to October 5th-ish, come see us in recreation. Thanks.
Will the e-waste and recycling still be accessible, or all of that will be closed
That
off?
area is going to change, but that strip, yes, will still be open because our city workers still need to be able to get back to the fleet area. So that singular driveway will be open, and that is it.
Thank you.
Through there.
Christina?
Just a quick announcement as well. The Griswold LaSalle Community Foundation is hosting our second annual King's Community Cook-Off on October 17th. And if some may remember that Councilmember Brewster challenged me last year to bring it to Lemoore. So that's exactly what we did. So it will be at Veterans Park this year. And so I'm hoping everybody signs up. Team signups are open. Right now, they're $300 for a team to sign up to cook ribs. And that's the same as last year. And it will be any other information you need is kingscookoff.com. Our lovely mayor will be one of our judges again. And I did hear Mr. Walker say that a self-proclaimed grill master. So
I will add to that it was in Hanford last year, and we need more teams than Hanford had because we're the better city. So please sign up teams so that we can have a good turnout.
So I'm already seeing John Doyle, you're going to have a team. Jamar, you're going to have a team. Brewster, you're going to have a team. Fire department's
Brewster's
going to
gonna
have
have 2 teams.
I got 2 teams.
2 teams?
Yeah.
All right. Overachieve. Love it. Who else? Who else? Public Works? Finance? Finance can cook some ribs, can't they? Sides. It's gonna be better than Hanford. We know it is already, so we'll just keep recruiting.
And it's a veterans park, right?
Yes.
So it'll be a lot more shade than.
Yeah.
It was a little hot.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on to consent calendar. Items considered routine in nature are placed on the consent calendar. They will all be addressed and voted upon in one vote as one item unless a council member or a member of the public requests individual consideration. We have item 4-1, approval minutes, regular and special meeting, July 7th, 2026. 4-2, approval resolution 2026-23, a request by Lemoore Mobile Home Park, Mary Hornsby, for wastewater collection service to be provided by the city of Lemoore for the mobile home park located at 18920 Hanford Ramona Road outside the city limits of the city of Lemoore, APN number 021650003. Item 4-3, approval second reading ordinance 2026-07, amending Title IV of the Municipal Code to add Chapter 12 relating to the volunteer fire department. 4-4, approval additional professional consulting services agreement with QK Inc. for Phase 2 of water supply study in the amount of $99,500. 4-5, approval award of construction contract for Daphne Stormwater Basin and Lift Station Improvements project to Hartzell General Engineering. 4-6, approval budget amendment Bush Street and 19.5 Avenue traffic signal and improvements project. 4-7, approval budget amendment and work order preparation for initial study mitigated negative declaration with technical studies for Vinewood Estates project in compliance with the California Environmental Quality Act. 4-8, approval budget amendment Cinnamon Drive and 19th Avenue traffic signal and improvements project. 4-9, approval budget amendment Liberty Drive and Hanford Ramona Road traffic signal. 4-10, approval denial of claim for Mr. Matthew Stoll. 4-11, approval task order with QK Inc. for construction management services for the Daphne Storm Drain Basin Improvements Project. 4-12, approval task order with A&M Consulting Engineers Inc. for design and bidding support services for the Fox Street to Follett Street Water Line Replacement Project. 4-13, approval agreement for GIS modernization and on-call services between the city of Lemoore and with QK Inc. 4-14, approval award for groundwater monitoring well installation services to Valley Science and Engineering. 4-15, approval draft 2025 Urban Water Management Plan and the amendment to the 2020 Urban Water Management Plan. 4-16, approval budget amendment Fox and 19th Avenue roadway repair project. 4-17, approval resolution 2026-24, withdrawal from the Cross Valley Rail Corridor Joint Powers Authority. 4-18, information only, Police Department update, June 2026. 4-19, information only, Fire Department update, May and June 2026. 4-20, information only, Building Division update, June 2026. 4-21, information only, Finance Department update, June 2026. 4-22, information only, investment report for the quarter end June 30th, 2026. And a special thank you to the Public Works Department for making me have to read a novel. Would anyone on council like to pull any of these items?
I just have a question on 4-2.
14?
4-2.
Oh, 4-2. What's your question?
So are they city or are they county?
They're county.
Are they coming into the city?
They're in our sphere of influence. It's not how we're doing that other project on 41.
Just a question.
The same thing.
Okay. I'm good. I don't need anything else.
You sure?
No, I'm good.
Sounds like you pulled it and you got his question answered and.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Anyone else? Cornick? I knew you got to pull something.
If he doesn't pull 4-22, then I'm gonna lose a bet.
Oh.
4-22.
Oh, the investment.
Oh.
Oh, missed it. You missed?
He just hasn't read that yet.
I read it.
Oh,
Like Jocelyn to read it out loud to
Yeah,
everybody.
it's good.
Yeah, what the heck, John?
Dash 22.
That's good news for the community, so.
okay. So we're gonna pull 4-22.
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else from council? No? Okay. Anyone from the public like to pull any of the remaining consent calendar items? Cinnamon is not, oh wait, the traffic signal, Cinnamon 19th. That's the only cinnamon one. Okay. So seeing no other items to be pulled, I'll entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 4-1 to 4-21.
Motion.
A motion by Councilmember Lyons and a second by Councilmember Gornick. Councilmember Lyons?
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick?
Yes.
Councilmember Brewster?
Yes.
Councilmember Cruz?
Yes.
And I vote yes as well. Passes 5 in favor. 4-2, sorry, Jocelyn.
22.
22, sorry.
All right, so for the quarter ending in June, our total cash investment portfolio was $87 million. If you look at the statement attached, it gives a breakdown of where we have our investments. 53% of our portfolio is in managed investments, 40% in pooled investments, and then very small, 5% in our cash time deposits, which is what we keep in our checking account. So we keep as much as possible in our investment vehicle so we can earn as much as possible. Our investments are still going very strong, earning a very good interest rate at this time. And we only had one item mature during the quarter.
You know, a part of the reason to pull that is, and now I didn't suggest it, it was. But the presentation we had earlier with respect to the cost allocations, this feeds right into that in terms of how that all those dollars that we have invested in all of those departments, rather than sitting in a checkbook in the bank getting 0 to 1% interest, we accumulate that and we invest the citizens' money. And that money then is then allocated back out to those multiple departments that we have here. And so Jocelyn doesn't like to come up and talk and blow her horn a little bit about what we're doing, but that's a good move for the city, and it's a good move for our dollars in terms of protecting that. And it allows us to take care of some more things that we need to take care of in the city. So that's good job, Jocelyn.
Depends on the quarter. For this last quarter, it was 4.17.
Better than picking cotton.
That's an informational item, so we don't have to approve it. So we'll go ahead and move on to public hearing.
I want a motion to approve 4-22.
I'll second that.
We'll go to item 5-1. Public hearing resolution 2026-20-25. Confirming the diagram and assessment of annual levy for fiscal year 2026 to 2027 for landscape and lighting maintenance district number 1, LMD zones 1 through 13, and resolution 2026-26 public facilities maintenance district number 1, zones 1 through 12.
Hello. Okay, so the city council's previously approved the formation of these districts. And on July 7th is when the council adopted the resolutions, initiating the proceedings and declaring the intent to levy. This is just the public hearing. Tonight's action requests that the council open the hearing to receive the public testimony. There are 2 resolutions before the council this evening to approve, and the levy and collection of assessments for both the LLMDs and PFMDs. Upon conclusion of the hearing, then the city staff recommend that council adopt the resolutions approving the engineer's report and setting the annual levy of assessments for the next tax year. Good question?
No diagrams? Just kidding. Any questions or comments from council? We'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the public? Anyone? With that, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, bring it back to council. Any other thoughts? I lost the motion words. If there's no other questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion to what is it?
Would you like me to read it?
Thank you.
To confirm the diagram and assessment of the annual levy for fiscal year 2026-2027 for landscape and lighting maintenance district number 1, LLMD zones 1 through 13, and resolution 2026-26 public facilities maintenance district number 1, PFMD zones 1 through 12.
What she said. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you. A motion by Councilmember Brewster,
Second.
second by Councilmember Lyons. Councilmember Brewster,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick.
Well, you know, one of the things about this may have seemed like a good idea 15 years ago, but this really creeps up on mortgage owners every so many years. And so it's, I'm going to vote yes for it, but it's something that we need to think differently about how we take care of landscape and maintenance as a city instead of by these developments, because now we're messing around with these small units that people can put in their backyards and stuff like that. And it's just much more stress on the public works department and keeping the streets clean and free of potholes and things of that nature. So, and the entries to our city, you know, some of them look pretty bad, and that's because they're in a landscape lighting district that can't afford it. So we have to watch for that stuff. So I'm going to vote yes.
Thank you. I vote yes. Passes 5 in favor.
Thank you.
Item 5-2, public hearing, resolution 2026-27, revising and update the master user fee schedule. Ms. Valdez.
So tonight we are asking to hold a public hearing on the proposed amendments for our departmental fees and charges. So again, as part of that RFP that we issued out in December, we hired Dan Bergman to review our master user fee schedule and making sure that we're charging for things that we should be, that we're charging fees that are appropriate for those items. So I will ask Dan to come up and give his review of those.
Thank you, Jocelyn. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. I first did the master fee review for Lemoore in 2017, and then again in 2020, and here we are again in 2026. So it's called the master user fee schedule because it's the place in the city where you collect all of your fees. I think you have it in front of you, right? 15 page. You do have them? Right, you have it. So it's 15 pages of fees. There's over 200 of them. And one of the things that I did this time is I made it prettier. You see your logo on there. There's a nice table of contents. And working with the department heads, we organized the fees so they're easier to follow. So what you see are building permits, fees for building permits and inspections, for planning and development, for public works, for city hall, utility penalties, business license, animal license, some police fees, and parks and recreation facility fees. Going to the next slide, the criteria for these is interesting because it's not all about cost. But moving through the fee schedule after 5 years, one of the things we look at with each of the department heads, and I really want to emphasize that, there was a lot of time spent working with staff about what needs to be removed, what needs to be added, what needs to be changed, and about fair levels of pricing. With some things like building permits and planning fees, they are set at the cost to provide the service for the most part. But with other things like your facilities and parks, you want your residents to be able to enjoy the facilities and you don't want it to cost too much. And there's not that much activity, so it doesn't really matter how much you charge, but you want to charge something that's reasonable. So there's all these different questions that we have in our mind when we're moving through the fees. And the last one that's important is, as I often think about, what are the neighbors doing? What is Hanford charging? What is Visalia charging? And other cities around, to make sure that what we think is right isn't way out of the ballpark. That matters. So moving on to approach, for each of, especially building permits and planning, the calculation is done for what is the cost to provide this service. And it's based on hours for tasks. And in that context, also looking at the present revenue stream. How are we doing and where's the activity? And again, I talked about meeting time. So for building permits, going to the next one, looked at hourly costs, hours for each task. There is a factor for standby capacity, a factor for departmental overhead, which is what I talked about earlier, the general government cost allocation, and for city overhead, which is the general government cost allocation, not department. So the next is a nice simple picture of it. This is an average based on the building department. So the average labor cost that's weighted for what they do, $72. Standby capacity, because they can't always be engaged in active building permit activity. They have to be available. And then general overhead. And that's the government cost allocation part. When I did this in 2020, it was $140 an hour. 6 years later, it's $160 an hour. Highlights for changes for building permits. Most of the fees were increased from the 2020 levels. One significant change is the surcharge, or the categorical charge, I should say, for the general plan fee. It was 6 cents. We increased it to 18 cents. We increased it by a factor of 3. And that's because the city is due for a general plan update. You probably know about that better than I do. But the cost of a general plan update is around $1 million. And the reason for the general plan update is new growth, new building in the city. So this was adjusted such that the city isn't collecting $25,000 or $40,000 a year, but collecting more like $75,000 to $85,000 a year. And so if you think about a general plan update needing to be done every 10 years, and we're collecting a lot more money, we're moving toward collecting enough money for the general plan update. So for a typical home, that would be a $288 charge for a typical new home. Each time I've done this, I've looked at cleaning things up and pushed to remove old stuff that doesn't need to be there. And one of the things we removed is the technology fee, because where 15 years ago, technology may have been new and needed a fee, it's just a part of everyday activity. So we don't need that 3-cent fee anymore. Something else that was done even further this time is a simplification of the pages that you no longer see that were for detailed electrical, plumbing, and mechanical permitting fees. So working with the building department, we made that so much simpler, which makes it easier for them to administer and easier to bill as well. Moving to the revenue and expense chart for building, I'm only showing you revenue and expense. Is the next one the bar chart, Marissa? Oh, it is the bar chart. I skipped a page. So the bar chart, this is one of the comparisons. And this is showing where a building permit is now for a 1,600 square foot home, just over $1,700. So the building permit cost got quite a bump upward. And that's for the purpose of trying to balance the budget in the building department. But you can see when you look at the comparison, we're not far off the surrounding communities. And Corcoran, I can tell you, since I did the work, that's a 10-year-old study. So they really need to increase, they likely need to increase their rates at this point for building permits. Okay, now to the table. These tables are in the report for Public Works and for the planning department as well. But I'm showing you the one for the building department. The expense items that you see are consistent with what was in the budget. One of the aspects of this that's noticeable is you see a bump upward from 25-26 to 26-27 for employees. And that's because of the new director that you're going to have that's over building and other departments. This is a useful tool for planning because in setting the fees, we're looking to achieve ideally break even. And you can see as we move from 25 to 26, 25, 26 to 26, 27, I would say we're holding ground. But this is with expenses going up quite a bit, but you can also see that the projected revenue from permitting is going up quite a bit as well, from 619,000 to 779, based on a projection of what revenue will be this fiscal year. So to look at planning and development, again, there was a lot of collaboration with planning and with public works. Wherever we could, we moved fees to a cost basis because some of the large items, some of the more expensive items that are performed, they can't really anticipate how much it's going to cost. If it's a big project or if it's a small project, and this can work, it's just important that staff provides expectations to the developers what the costs are going to be. And so let me move on from there. I'm going to come back to the City Hall, miscellaneous and fire. All of the fees were rounded to numbers that were easier to use. They had all become dollars and cents numbers from the CPI increases. Just a couple examples, a fee is added for water meter tampering, which you didn't have before, and a fee for fire department administrative services when the fire department is providing services for commercial type ventures in the community. For police, the next one, one of the things we did this time is consolidated so many parking ticket line items to just one because you don't need every little description. It's in your municipal code anyway. For facilities and parks, one of the things that we did working closely with Noel was to increase the cost for large room rentals for the Veterans Hall, for the Civic Center, about $100 for the first 4 hours, increasing it about $100. And it could probably be increased more, but $100 at a time is fine. Another one that sees a lot of activity is indoor soccer. Right now for your nonprofit soccer teams, it's $37 an hour. That's increased to $50. That could probably be increased more as well, based on other indoor soccer facilities in the area. We also cleaned up terms and condition and the presentation of the fees. One of my recommendations, and what you see in the resolution is the annual CPI adjustment is removed. And the reason is, well, a couple of reasons. First, many of the items don't need to be increased by CPI by 2.5 or 3 and 3.5% each year, like dog licenses. They just need to be left alone. It's a community service. There are also other factors, like feedback from the community, from the building community, about what a charge should be, that can have a lot more influence than a CPI number. And the other thing that I recommend so strongly, especially after doing this 2 times already, is that this get an annual review. And as I've talked to department heads working through the process, the thing I encourage them to do is as we're moving through the year, pay attention to where the activity is and pay attention to feedback they're getting, like rental of the facilities and the soccer field, to get a sense for if we're under the market, if we're in the market, if there's more activity in an area that's not having the right fee, to pay attention. The problem is that people are so busy. This is just one of those things that we don't get around to. Should have written into the resolution that it must have annual review, but annual review would be a very good thing. So I've left you with a fee schedule that is very much cleaned up and updated as well. Just like the general government cost allocation, it was a great exercise because me roaming around City Hall, caused many people to have to think about these things that they don't have to think about. And so we have an updated master fee schedule. It's proposed to be effective September 1st. And unlike the general government study, this one does need your approval in the context of the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the public on this item? First, I'm going to open the public hearing. It's for the rental of the, so yeah, so if somebody rents the indoor soccer, that's the fee they pay to rent it per hour. Any other questions? Okay, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions from council?
I like the idea of doing the annual review on both of those projects. Makes no sense.
I do have one question. How much, I mean, obviously, this is a new fee schedule, but on average, how much did things go up by? Say like the Parks and Rec stuff, how much did that go up by?
Well, Parks and Recs is different because the only things we really bumped up were the rental fees for the big halls and indoor soccer. But at the same time, those are the areas where there's activity. I mean, as a city, you have rental fees to rent out picnic benches in the parks. So we just tried to leave it alone.
Yeah.
But a more specific answer to your question is I said that in 2020, that weighted average hourly was 140 and now it's 160. So that's a good indication of how much things generally moved up. And there's some things I didn't say, like the fee for water heaters and HVAC, like residential HVAC. We're really careful with that because you want people to get permits. You don't want it to be so expensive that people just aren't even going to get permits, especially water heaters. So that one is not cost of service. We looked at keeping it reasonable.
Yeah.
Can I make a comment on rec fees real quick? So most rec fees do not cover the cost of providing the service. They're subsidized by the general fund for the benefit of the community. So when you factor in, if we were charging like the actual cost of renting the soccer field, you have to factor in during the time that they're there, how much electricity are they using? How much water are they using? If they go to the restroom, how much toilet paper are they using? The deterioration of the soccer field. So if we were to come up with what it actually costs for them to use it, it's going to be much higher than $50 an hour. So most of the recreation fees are lower than what it costs to provide that service. The registration fees for programs vary by program because those will cover the cost to provide that program. So that's why I think last year flag football was like $115 a kid. This year it was only $100 because we made some changes. So those fluctuate. Those are not on here. They state that they vary. But on the rentals, it costs us more to maintain it and to have it than it does for what we actually collect for the rental.
Perfect. Thank you.
If I can make one suggestion for the master fee schedule for the recreation programs and sports registration with council's consensus, if we can add that coaches that complete a full season get 50% off their kids' next sport program. It's really hard to get coaches. And when you think about it, these community members donate a lot of their time, energy into not only their kids, but several other kids on the team. And they really, there's no benefit other than the time that they get to spend with their kids and pour into the kids of the community. So I personally would like to see us do something to kind of give an incentive to our faithful coaches and then maybe to get some more people interested in coaching some of our youth.
Is that easy to track?
Yes.
Okay.
But Mayor, would that be outside of this though?
We should add the language somewhere because we don't have it on a document.
Oh.
So I would do it as you're saying. So that we can just add a sentence on it.
If I'm coaching, you're gonna give me a break and without, so.
No, not on the rental facility. So for example, if you coached indoor soccer, it's 9 weeks, I think, that you're coaching. Usually, practice, I think, is once or twice a week, and then they have games once a week for 9 weeks. And so if you coached, then you would have a discount off the next indoor soccer season or flag football season to register your child.
I have,
Who ultimately is responsible for these coaches? Who's ultimately responsible for the coaches?
So the coaches, apply with the recreation department and they have to be live scan fingerprinted and cleared, for a background. And then they work under the direction of our recreation specialist.
So it would be something that we would, that perk would be a part of the rec department.
Correct.
Okay.
So-
How about if I have to walk every morning? I got to pay?
no,
If you're gonna take kids walking with you, I'm just kidding.
so I had 3 head nods.
Yeah.
Okay,
So when you make the motion, sorry, can you just make the motion to approve it with that change?
can I say that change? Or do I have to be specific again and say it again? I'll say it again. I'll make the motion to approve the master. What's the motion? It's not in front of me.
It's to approve resolution 2026-27, revising and updating the master user fee schedule with the change referenced.
With adding that coaches that complete a full season of coaching get 50% off for their child for the next sports program.
This decrease in the next season applied to one child before.
It's a good question.
Per child.
I mean, I get, are they coaching here? Okay, now I'm just opening a can of worms. Are they coaching several kids on one team or are they coaching several teams with several kids? That's a good question. If that was the case, I would say definitely however many teams they're coaching, they should get that discount per kid.
Registered as a coach, not just an assistant coach or anything, because that's how you guys track it, right? Like there's a head coach.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm good with head coach. I don't want to all of a sudden have, oh, I'm a coach. And everybody's getting,
Well,
everybody coached.
background people.
So head coach and per child per team.
Yeah.
Is it, okay, let's open this can of worms a little bigger. So is this going to apply to Pop Warner? Is it going to apply to Little League?
Rec.
Only rec program.
We haven't agreed with the Little League.
Rec.
We haven't agreed.
We only have control of our own fees though.
Yeah.
We don't set their fees.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard that, ladies and gentlemen.
Somebody's over there trying to shut that one down real quick. Okay.
I'd let everybody play
Did
free
you,
if I could.
is that clear enough language? Okay, so I made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Brewster. Councilmember Brewster,
Yes.
Councilmember Lyons.
Yep.
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick.
Did we include all the kids that they might have? I mean, why are you going to discriminate against, the kids playing, let them all play?
There's a motion already.
So
Well, every time I'm asking, does that include it?
It's great.
one kid, one team.
The motion right now is 1 discount per team they coach. So 1 kid discounted per team they coach. So if they coach multiple teams and they have multiple children, it would
How about a discount for every child that plays?
that would be a different motion.
Well, let's see, you can always come back and change it.
That's what I'm thinking. See how it goes.
Yeah.
Thank you. I vote yes as well, so that passes 5 in favor. Thank you, Mr. Bergman. Now we'll go ahead and move on to new business, 6-1, report and recommendation, appointment of voting delegate to League of California Cities Annual Conference.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
So this year, the 2026 California League of California Cities Annual Conference is in Anaheim on September 23rd through the 25th. And on Friday, September 25th is when they hold the General Assembly. So I'm looking to appoint a voting delegate and an alternate for the General Assembly on that Friday. And currently I have 3 members of the council registered to attend the conference. So that's Mayor Matthews, Councilmember Brewster, and Councilmember Cruz.
I'm just gonna say Brewster, and I already, so it looks like Councilmember Cruz is gonna be the voting delegate.
That's fine.
Sweet.
The alternate.
Do we need to, we need a motion?
Motion. For cruising this guy.
Second.
We got a motion by Councilmember Lyons,
This guy.
second by Councilmember Brewster. Councilmember Lyons,
Yes.
Councilmember Brewster,
This guy, yes.
Councilmember Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Gornick,
Yes.
and I vote yes as well. Passes 5 in favor. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
And then we have item 6-2, report and recommendation, new city seal design contest. Mr. Hill.
Okay, so at the last meeting, we showed the top 8 city seals that were submitted and voted on by the public. And the direction of the council was to get all 8 of them embroidered so that you could see what they would look like. And unfortunately, we reached out to the 2 local organizations that do embroidery, and none of the city seal submissions can be embroidered as they are. They all have too much detail. And so what I am asking you tonight is to look at them again and come to a consensus of which one you like best of the 8. And then allow me to work with the artist to make some minor modifications so that it is embroiderable, if that's a word. And then we can move forward with that city seal.
So, questions, comments, picks from council?
Mayor, I do have a question for city manager. We did follow up on trying to get the vector files. Were they able to submit all of them?
I think we got them from 6, right?
We received them from 7. So I believe it's option 82. I did not receive a vector file from.
Which is the one that's up?
No.
The one that's gold and blue. Or whatever color in blue. That one.
Thank you.
Any favorites?
I would ask for public comment.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the public first. Some chickens up here. Any public comment on this item? Any favorites? Mr. Reed.
Lemoore Avenue. I think what we're trying to do on the seal is we're trying to put too much onto it. I think it needs to be greatly simplified. I noticed on the Avenel seal that they only have a couple of items. They have an oil derrick and another item. And I think if we could boil it down to just 2, maybe 3 items, it would greatly ease the ability to embroider it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I completely agree. I think the samples that were put forth were very simple. I think we just had community members that were very excited about our city and wanted to include everything they could with as much detail as they could. So we'll have to see what we can work with.
Since the public is going to speak, we're going to click through them again real quick just so you can see them all. You can still speak, Mr. Barnhart, but she'll click through them so that everybody can see them in case there's one that you want to speak about.
I'm bringing up the city of Lemoore, California, the one with the 3 jets, the.
Can't hear you.
Okay, that's funny.
Can you hear me now?
Of all people, that is hilarious.
Yeah. The actual one logo the seal that I'm looking at has the 3 jets flying over the fields. Based off of what I've seen of all these seals, Every one of them was AI generated, so that's why we got all the fun
So,
decorations.
was it this one? This one with the three
Next
cups?
was the very basic one, that one.
This one.
All right. If you're going for simplicity, especially for something that needs to be sewn into clothing, that would be the best one. I speak as a parachute rigger extraordinaire, not really. I speak as a PR for the Navy who's done a lot of sewing and embroidery in my time frame. That would be the easiest one to get embroidered. It'd also be the cheapest for the city because they do charge on the cost of thread. So, what I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Alex C. Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm smart enough not to pick a favorite. That's your guys' job. But what I really want to do, and I think it really is important, just to take an opportunity to thank everybody that submitted something. I think takes a lot of work, regardless of the means of how you produced it. Like, I think it was really enjoyable to have the people vote on it. And though you guys have a difficult decision before you, something I would encourage that I think is important is our military connection, and it's part of our history and it's part of our future. So I just wanted to emphasize, regardless of the options you pick, and I believe all of them have elements of it, just making sure that we maintain that patriotic spirit and our American heritage and that.
Thank you, sir. Any other public comment? Nobody's brave enough to throw a favorite out there? Which one?
Yeah, no, the first. I like yeah, I like that one. I just think it has too much of it. And I would love to see something about Roslyn. Just want to grow that. But it's too full, but I like the.
I can't pick a favorite.
No.
It's hard. I do have a top two. If and maybe we can start throwing those out and maybe come to a consensus. I think that one is one. And then and that one is the second one.
Well, the seal's supposed to be a circle, right?
Yes.
Could be a square. I mean, we don't know what we want.
So in the presentation earlier, Mr. Bergman's first presentation, when you saw, no, it was KCAG's presentation, when you saw all the city seals on the bottom, and then we had our little logo down there. It's just very sad. So it'd be nice if it was a circle to blend in with everyone else.
That one's good. I like that one.
I'm not going to influence you on which one to pick. I'm going to just say for the community who may not be familiar with the purpose of a city seal, that the city seal is something that we wear on our shirts when we go out representing the city. And so when we're meeting with developers and trying to get them to come build houses or bring new business to Lemoore, it's reflective of our city. And so we want something that recognizes our heritage, which is reflective of the tribe. And of course, you want to include the military base, but also that shows like our vision for the future. You don't want something that just is reflective of the past. The past is important, but you also want something that's reflective of where you would like the city to go. And so just keeping that in mind, I just want you to have that fresh in your mind when you are deciding on the one or two that you like best.
Whose idea was this whole thing? Oh, I think you should.
We're a council of 5.
Wasn't my idea. A seal is something, it's inherent in the name that we give it. It's a seal. It is something that documents what we're doing. A logo is something different. We shouldn't confuse the two. These are mixed. There's good logos in here, there's good seals in here, but there's a menagerie, if you will. So it's confusing to me what we want. And so I'll defer to my colleagues.
I will also say that to add to the mayor's point and incorporating what Dr. Gornick just said, The city of Lemoore does not have a city seal currently. We are actually the only city that I know of that doesn't have a city seal. And so when you look at the seals that were on the presentation earlier, it's everybody's city seals and then it's our logo because all we have is a logo currently.
Which when you're at a conference, it's hard to distinguish that we're from a city or if we're a vendor because it looks like we work for a water company currently with our current logo, which is why I brought this forward so that we can put our best selves forward when we're out representing the city.
That one made into a circle. I think that's your closest thing to getting embroidered. Why does it have to be embroidered? Heat press or something.
Because we wear it on our city attire. So if it was a screen print, it's going to look cheap, not to be mean. And if it's a patch, then when it gets washed and dried, it doesn't last well. So embroidery is ideal.
Your shirt is not screen printed
No, it is not.
or heat pressed.
So look at Mr. Pescator's badge. Not to put you on the spot, Mark. But so his badge on his chest, it's a made badge, and then it's sewed on. Correct? That's whole thing is embroidered. Can you come close so we can look at it?
Please turn to the right.
Yeah, but it's simple detail.
I like that. Look at it. It's got the city hall on there with the flag and yeah. Thank you, Mark.
Councilmember Lyons, just a heads up also when it comes to the difference between a patch and embroidery. Patches cost more because not only do you have to pay for the patch itself to be manufactured, but then you have to add in the cost of having it sewn onto the garment as well. Whereas embroidery is a one-stop shop.
I mean, you're splitting hairs, but can I just rip the Band-Aid off? How do we make a decision on one that we don't know what it's going to be at the end? Are we going to bring it back for reapproval?
Yeah, so what I would like, if you would like my recommendation, is for you to pick one that you all agree that you like best in concept. And then I can go back to the artist to talk about how they can simplify it and then bring it back to you for final approval.
I've thrown two options out there. I'm waiting for, and you don't have to agree with
I
me.
agree with this one right here. If that's what we're doing, I agree with this one right here. Gosh dang it, Marissa, you keep moving. I like that one. But that's a good logo. Okay. I like it as whatever we're talking about. It's got everything on there. It's got multiple things on there. I don't want to be rude to the artist, but the jet needs some work. But when you shrink that down to, I don't know, you're gonna like the size of Mark's. I'm gonna use Mark again. When you use that badge, like the coyote, the cow, the train, the leaf, the wave, those things are gonna be so small. I don't know. I would have to see it in actual size.
And what it would look like more simplified. Like you said, there is a lot still in there.
Yeah. And the stars behind the jet. I don't know. Is that jet exhaust stars? I
Jet
don't know.
parts.
Or is that stars over the mountains? I don't know. And it's just like you said, honoring our roots and building our future.
I really like the wording on this one.
Yeah. But I also like the one Brewster said too. So those are my two.
Cruz or Gornick, any input?
Or if we do that, take two of them, have them both.
We don't even know if we're narrowed to two. We gotta let our other council members weigh in.
Well, at least take two of the however many we have and have those artists modify it a little bit to where we can.
If that is the direction of the council, that's what we will do.
I do have a top two, Mayor.
Okay.
I like the TAC 2, that one, and the TAC 5. The 625.
That one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one to me looks like a logo.
I mean, embroidery wise, that would be.
Yeah.
Very stuff.
Agreed.
I don't know how to say this without,
Just rip the band.
even if you, yeah, even if you make it a circle, I'm not sure what that says about Lemoore. Other than
We got Greenfield and Jets. And a
That-
curvy road. And a going towards Jackson Avenue, Avenue cutoff.
just my 2 cents. Gornick?
I said my piece.
Yeah, what was your piece?
Nothing.
Oh, he said he was.
Well, if we were, if you look at the budget we just approved. If we want to have something done, we usually hire a consultant. Now, you said, sir, you said that you wanted to improve that jet.
Yeah.
So what gives you the artistic ability that you would be able to improve that to make it any better than it is?
I'm not saying I can,
But I know, that's why I'm bringing it up.
but I can cut and paste.
There's one of the ones that you had on here with all the things on the bottom.
No.
I still say we don't have a steel here. I think we have a bunch of logos. And that's and I think it's nice that we're having a contest, and I think it's wonderful that people want to contribute to it, but but I think if we see that bottom half where it says City of Lemoore, you take the top off of that and you make that square. Now that could be a logo. You have all those items on the bottom. People ask you, what is that? What is that? Is that a dog or is that a coyote? And you can tell them what the Tonti Dallas is. We have a casino in town. What's that? Is that a jet over there? More, I like the wording, but I don't know, just
Mark, what do you think? Why don't you give us your opinion?
All the small things across the bottom, get across the vertical border, that's a simple biology. This is compared to what our badge is, even the flag in this, the flag with the color, the kind of color.
You wouldn't be able to. Chief, what do you think?
Let me see your badge. Come over here, let me see your badge.
So I think the consensus is that all of these have too much detail. And so if you would like to pick one or two to reach out to the artist to simplify, I can bring those back to you unless there's none that you can agree to. I did go through them all last meeting, and then it was posted on Facebook that I was critiquing them like Tyra Banks on America's Next Top Model for our city seal. So I'm trying to refrain from making comments about them. But if there's some that you like more than others, and there's a consensus on that, that would be ideal. I have had them all printed on my desk since the last meeting. So as people come in, they're giving me their opinions about each of them. I do have that information if you'd like it, but other than that.
Yeah,
If
let's
you-
have that information.
Okay, so can you go back to the first one? So in general, this one was liked, just maybe removing some of the like rope around the outside. And then just some of the detail, like the clouds in the sky and the paved streets and things like that to make it a little bit more simple. But overall, like there were positive comments about this. Also removing the, I don't know if those are leaves or what they are on the two sides because it makes it look kind of like a badge rather than a seal. On the next one, this was the one that I said, all I see is the Tobin James son when I look at it. But it just has a lot of detail. There are people holding hands around the outside. And so that is a nice detail, but it would need a lot removed overall. Like nobody had anything positive or negative to say. There was just a lot of concerns about the detail on this one, but did like the wording down across the ribbons. This one, again, just with the leaves on the side, possibly removing that. And then because the Tachioka is in the center, it makes it look more as a seal for the tribe rather than a seal for the city. So maybe making that a little bit smaller, and then adding in some elements of the city so that it doesn't look like all we have here is farming. This one has been referred to many times as the road to nowhere. It shows an empty field with no buildings, no development. And then the next one, this one, again, the consensus is that it looks like a challenge coin, and then we didn't get the vector file on this one anyway. On the next one, this one, we were able to get like screen prints of the seals, except this one. They couldn't even screen print this one. So this one hasn't been printed on my desk for people to look at. The next one, this one, people liked the coloring, but didn't want to be known as a cow town. And then on the last one, again, the consensus was overall that it was nice. The language was nice, but the detail, especially along the bottom, was too small, and then maybe a little bit busy up top.
Thank you. I'm offended by the road to nowhere. I like that one.
I wasn't keeping tally. Did we have some that we had consensus on or no?
I have 6-2-2, which is that one, and 6-2-5. Which one was that? The road to nowhere.
Same two for me.
Sounds good. I'll agree with them. There you go. There's your consensus.
But Mayor, if we can, keep in mind that 6-2-9. I think that would be a great logo. Not for a seal, but for a logo. The color scheme is great.
That one?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good logo. It's got a lot of almost everything. Yeah. Almost if those little logos below California and the word Lemoore were traded, because you'd be able to see the word Lemoore if it was a little bit smaller and make those logos a little bit bigger. I don't know. Yeah, I would have to see it actual size. Mercy, can you zoom out of this a little bit? Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. You probably can't even see it now. Yeah, well, hold on. Let me put my glasses on. That would be the actual, that would be about the size, no? On a shirt? No, I'd be a little bit bigger.
Just a little bit bigger.
Busy. I don't know. Oh, the problems we face.
This might take longer than the actual meeting.
Well, you got consensus right here. You just don't want to give it up.
The road to nowhere?
But we're adjusting them, aren't we? Or simplifying. That needs to be in a circle. How about you narrow it down to 3? Add 629 to the road to nowhere and the popular one. That one. Well, which one did you want? Not. You wanted that one, right?
That one or the last one?
What was the last one?
The one that Dr. Gornick said looks like a logo. The one with the big Lemoore.
The one we just zoomed out.
Yeah.
Oh. Narrow it down to 3 instead of 2. You're eliminating 5. Okay, or we can sit here. You have consensus for 2 already, so. Do you want a 3rd? We'll give you your 3rd.
Please.
Throw it in there.
Okay.
So the direction is simplify the first and the last, and then the one that's not round, make it.
Yes. Yes. See what it looks like.
We will do that and bring those back to you.
Okay. Make a patch out of all 3 of them. I'm kidding.
Okay. Think you guys have direction. We'll go ahead and move on to city council reports and requests. Councilmember Brewster.
Thank you, Mayor. Wrapped up the baseball season in Fremont at the state championship. Our 10-year-olds took 4th place. We eliminated Linden, which is a small town up north. And then we beat Hollister with a walk-off in the 6th. And then we lost to San Francisco 2-1 in the 8th inning. The boys fought hard. They represented Lemoore well. The common question was, where's Lemoore? So
The road to nowhere.
the road to nowhere. So with that, we have fall ball starting here in a little while. I want to congratulate Ruben on his retirement. Attended the summer bash and sat under the supposed dunk tank and got
Waterboarding?
waterboarded for
Yeah.
a little bit, but whatever, it's for the kids, right? So, but yeah, and that's it for me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, congratulations to Ruben on his retirement. I'm only jealous. And thank you to all the, the kids from the
Boy Scouts.
The Boy Scouts, yeah, for coming in. And Mark, thanks Mark for being such a good sport, man. He's the only one that participated. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Cruz.
I don't have any, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Gornick.
Ruben, congratulations. The Boy Scouts, it was good to see him here. Next time we have him here, let him do the flag of the salute. That'd be good. Yeah.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah, it's okay. They'll be around again. It was great to hear from the community, good, bad, and the ugly, in terms of what we need to focus on. And I could tell you, we've talked about those things too. So hopefully we'll make some heyday on that. Great reports, once again, in terms of our finances. And I like the work we're doing on cost allocation. It's good. That keeps us focused. Good job, city manager. And great news about the, now that'll take care of all the square footage in the old Kmart building, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. Cha-ching.
Okay, I also attended the summer bash, which was very well attended despite the heat. So it was a nice event for the community and glad that people showed up. Let's see, CART, our Kings Area Public Transit Agency, we approved the special 1-year, 20-month pass again for fiscal year 26-27. So that is available. You can get a monthly pass for $20 and ride it however many times, the bus for however many times you want. The homelessness collaborative, we went over the pit count or the point in time count for homeless in Kings County. They also did a triangle courtyard update and an update on the low barrier shelter that KCAO will be putting in Hanford on 10th and Hanford Armona Road, right in that area. They've gotten a little delayed with their plans with the city of Hanford, but still moving forward. I did attend the South Fork Kings GSA for Dr. Gornick. They approved the contract with Green Acres Consulting and then also another consultant with 3 letters. I can't remember the 3 letters. My apologies. But those were approved. And the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Committee met and talked about the upcoming DC trip, Washington DC trip for the San Joaquin Valley region. And what we will be discussing, one of the Lemoore projects will be on there, which is our DSIP grant. Don't ask me what that stands for. I can't remember right now. But I will have the pleasure of speaking to our electeds in Washington, DC about that one, as well as there'll be other projects throughout the San Joaquin Valley that we will be highlighting on our trip back there. The San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution Control District Citizen Advisory Committee. Today, we met today, and one of the highlights was the Drive Clean in the San Joaquin Vehicle Replacement Program is coming back. It currently has 11.6 million in available funding, and that's for the whole San Joaquin Valley area. And they will also reopen the program. They'll reopen that program for new applications in September. So sometime this month, they should have that available on their website. The rebate program that's part of that is it has 3 million and it's targeted to relaunch mid-August. LAFCO, they talked about the annual conference, the California annual conference. Also talked about the draft regions map. We had a discussion on that. They're looking at redrawing the districts for LAFCO, Cal LAFCO. And then they also changed the meeting date and time. It's usually with CART and KCAG. But now that those meetings are in 2 separate locations, they've changed it because it's really hard to get from one side of Hanford to the other side of Hanford in between meetings. So that will now be the first Wednesday of the month at 11 a.m. And then upcoming, we have the South San Joaquin Valley Division membership meeting. It will be in Visalia, so I plan on attending that. And I did not have time to write everything down, so that's all I have. So with that, we'll go ahead and go over closed session. We have item 1, Government Code Section 54956.8, conference with real property negotiators, property APN 023-430-012. Agency negotiator Marissa Trejo, city manager, under negotiation, price and terms. Item 2, Government Code Section 54956.8, conference with real property negotiators, property APN 020-063-019. Agency negotiator Marissa Trejo, city manager, under negotiation, price and terms. Item 3, conference with legal counsel, litigation update, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9D, one case, Jones v. City of Lemoore et al. So with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn to the next council meeting, until the next council meeting, which will be August 18th. Thank you all for coming.